Hi Aries, my name is Linda. Welcome to your November reading. I've already shuffled the cards and put your spread down. What we have here is where you are now, the challenge you face, the resources you can use, the hidden forces, the potential outcome. And we're going to take one rune here to understand what is your spiritual lesson at this time. Oh, I guess it's that one. All right. So it looks pretty clearly to me like there is a breakup happening here. You have the Emperor and the Empress in your reading. The Emperor's upright, the Emperor's in reverse. So there could be a counterpart energy here that is dissolving or shifting, especially since you have the Three of Swords here and the Eight of Swords in the reading. Sage of Cups is also here in the reverse. And this rune is about partnerships. So yeah, I would have to say pretty clearly this is about a relationship, some kind of partnership. That might not be romantic, it could be a business partnership, but most likely it's a partnership of counterparts. And what I feel here is that there is obviously some heartbreak, sorrow, sadness relating to the situation in the way that it's playing out here. The Eight of Swords is in the reading in the position of what challenge you face, and it's in the reverse. So Eight of Swords can typically speak about mental, what's the right word? Like a mental prison that you might have put yourself in, or some kind of self-sabotaging behavior or attitude or beliefs that have now potentially could be coming to manifestation. Maybe you thought the worst about someone, and that actually then created a situation where what you thought might happen actually did happen, in terms of, you know, being maybe rejected or split, or someone pulling away from you. The Eight of Swords, however, in the reverse position is about gaining freedom and liberation and getting perspective and reclaiming your personal power in a situation. So this could go a few different ways here. How I'm seeing it is that potentially you and a person are going their own ways, and that's causing some pain for you, but it's also giving you a sense of liberation and freedom from a situation which may have felt too sticky, too binding, too restrictive, too limiting. That's one way I could see this. Another way I could see this is that a split is generating a sense of you being able to move beyond a situation that has been unfitting, like not a good fit for you, but that maybe you were trying to squeeze or compromise into because you thought it was something worthwhile and good and beneficial for you, and that meant maybe you kind of lost a bit of yourself along the way in that process because you kind of maybe compromised too much or gave up too much of yourself in order to fit into the picture. For some of you, you might have felt like you were with your soulmate or a twin flame or whatever those, like I really don't like using those kinds of terms, especially the like twin flame thing. I don't think it's really as much of a thing that people think it is. But anyway, like in this reading here, what I'm seeing is that potentially you thought you were with a twin flame, and maybe some events have occurred that maybe have made you question that or doubt that, or maybe just in general, like you thought you were with someone who you'd be with for a long time, but there's been a turn of events here, and maybe you were realizing that it's actually, even though it's painful to go through this particular energy of splitting or breaking up, but it's actually hugely beneficial to you for your development, for your future, for your personal growth. And that it's actually helping you reclaim a lot of power that you might have over time slowly kind of given away or given up by giving too much compromise into the dynamic with someone. This could also be a time period where you're gaining more confidence as you come out of this energy of being part of a union that was maybe unhealthy or unsupportive. And now you might be coming into a time period where you're ready to be much more confident, much more independent, much more emotionally grounded and stable in your own energy as you continue that process of reclamation that the Eight of Swords reverse is speaking about. You're gaining more strength, more courage, more self-confidence, and things are shifting in a really profound way as far as like your own sense of self-worth and your own emotional independence too. So let's take a look at this rune and see what that can add to the reading. This rune is called Gebo. It's spelled G-E-B-O. I'm not sure if that's the correct pronunciation. Let's get it in focus here. There we go. So it says here, Gebo, gifts both in the sense of sacrifice and of generosity, indicating balance. All matters in relation to exchanges, including contracts, personal relationships, and partnerships. So this rune obviously cannot be in reverse because it's the same both ways. But if it's in opposition, if it falls into a reading where there's some debilitation, it could say this: greed, loneliness, dependency, over-sacrifice, obligation, toil, privation. So how I'm seeing that in this reading is that, yeah, if the relationship is breaking up, and it seems like that's the case, it could be as a result of dependency or over-sacrifice, which are things that we've already kind of been touching on so far. Emotional dependence, financial dependence, codependence in general could have been an issue here. That could have led to the loss of personal power, the loss of independence, the loss of confidence. And so in this reading, how I'm seeing it is that this split is actually a very beneficial thing, because it's helping you to overcome some of those imbalances that maybe had been starting to show up in a way that became too much to bear. Maybe in the beginning that would, like, those small details of compromise, those little moments where you kind of like, you know, just let things be because you want to keep the peace or whatever, were okay. But as time goes on, you kind of start to feel like you gave away maybe too much of yourself, and this is a moment where you kind of are putting a stop to that entirely so that you can recover and reclaim your energy. So the Sage of Cups is in the final position of the reading in the reverse, but I feel like it's just simply a point of explaining that this energy is still pretty fresh. Maybe the breaking up part is still pretty fresh, and so there is a process here that you will still need to go through, of healing, of recovery, of reclamation, of regeneration, of restoration. So while this might feel a little bit painful now, and there is a very positive outcome ahead in terms of where this will take you by simply this process of you kind of reclaiming your power and stepping out of a situation or an environment where you feel like there was too much restriction and limitation and too much compromise and too much giving up of personal power. There still will be a process of grief and recovery while you restore emotionally what was lost or what has been given away. So you're out of maybe the difficult part now in terms of being away from the person that had maybe led to you feeling that loss of personal power, but now there's a process ahead of you of healing that you still need to undertake. So be patient with yourself, be patient with the process. Focus on internal balance of the masculine and feminine. That's an important part of this reading as well. Learning to have clear boundaries and to be confident and comfortable enough to say no or to speak your mind in whatever topic in whatever ways actually needed for other people to understand exactly where you stand and what your honest perspective is, where you authentically are placing yourself in a situation. It's really important, and those are skills to learn. It doesn't necessarily come automatically or easily, but this is a time to start to really put into practice what you already know you need and want, and verbalize those things and make sure other people understand them as well as you do, so that there's no confusion, there's no lack of clarity, there's no misunderstanding, and everybody is on the same page. And don't be afraid to speak up and speak your mind, because you might feel afraid to speak up and speak your mind because you don't want to hurt someone else's feelings or offend someone. But when you do that, you just hurt yourself and you offend yourself, and nobody wins in that situation, because that kind of resentment builds up over time and becomes unbearable at a certain point. And I feel like that's probably what has happened here. Okay, Aries, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. It's been an honor and a pleasure to read for you. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next reading. Bye for now.